Hello, it's Jon Binnie here. Welcome to my office where I do all of my business. And this is my monthly reflection. I'll start again. This is my monthly reflections of my life, my business, my mission, everything. And I have here, just here, if the camera follows me on the gimbal, I have my laptop, and I'll be sharing a lot of the detail behind really a personal vlog to explain about how things are going on in my life, and not just all the glory, also some of the dark shadows, and it feels a bit shadowy in here today. It's very bright outside, and I've been spending a lot of time in nature this month, so this felt like a good time to just come indoors and begin some of that inward reflection. And it feels very apt because it's the room is nice and light, and then I'm wearing a dark top. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to remind myself of, and if you're new to the channel, welcome, and also thank you for, as I checked just now, 14,414, so 14414, woohoo, subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. It's super kind of you, and I really appreciate all your kind love, words, support, comments, your shares. It's truly touching. Thank you. I've also brought a coffee because this is what we do with monthly reflections. It's only half a coffee, but I'll take that. Okay, so apologies for loud ASMR type gulping sounds, but you know me, I like my coffee. So my mission is to help thousands, and in time millions, of people navigate through their journeys, through their spiritual awakenings. I am considering changing the navigate their life journeys to navigate their life, or their dance through life. So I feel that life is much more of a dance than a journey. That's my evolving thinking. For now, that's something I'm still integrating. So that's the first part. My mission is to help thousands, and in time millions of people navigate their life journeys through their spiritual awakenings, and to empower people to find their purpose, deepen their daily practices, embody and put into practice their physical, metaphysical abilities to help this whole world transform from within. Okay. If you wonder where I just read that from clearly, it's on the homepage of my website, and it's at the forefront. That mission is still very much on plan, on target for me. There are lots of constraints and trade-offs that I place around that mission, because if I just allowed it to be fully unleashed, then alls I would do is that mission. And actually there's a lot more important things in my life than just my mission, and that includes my wife, my family, my friends. Patch, who's just over here. Let me show you Patch. Can you see him? There he is. There's Patch. Patch the Papillon. So yeah, it's wonderful to be able to support people as well as filling my own cup first. And one good reminder of that, and I always touch on this in my monthly reflections, is that my health, this is my first tenet. These are available on the My Future press release FAQ page of my website. It says, my tenets are my health, self-love, and self-care comes first every day over the demands of my business. Now, right now, you might feel it in my energy. I am a little bit tired. I was doing a late night podcast last night, despite my best efforts to rest before, which really helped my energy during the podcast. This morning, I definitely feel it. And so I do have more time today to recover a bit before I then go on and do client session live stream and my higher self intermediate training. Okay, so now that that's clear, and if you do want to read this, please do explore my website, jonbinnie.com, and you'll find out a lot more details about the vision I have for helping this whole world transform into equality, compassion, abundance, forgiveness, unconditional love, and so much more. Okay, and let's start with September. So we're at the 25th of September. There are still a few more days left. I'll try and remember that when I do my next monthly review. If I go back to, I'm just looking at my calendar, which is just behind the camera here. If I go back to August, my last end of month review was the 26th, so just about dead on a month. And so it's really interesting because in my life, a big thing happened, and in our family's life happened. On the 28th of August, so just at the very end of last month, I drove down with our camper van. So that's the one with the engine, beep, beep. And then towing our caravan, that's the trailer with no engine. Drove it for, it's about a 5 hours, a 5 to 6 hour journey down to a place called Wanda Home. And there we traded in the caravan. And then I stayed there. I bought our new motorhome. Not totally dissimilar in size. Well, in length it's identical. In width it's much bigger than the camper van we had. And so I stayed in the new one for a night and then drove back the next day. So that was like an epic end to August. And then a week later, I got the train down. So on the 5th of September, I got a train down and I went and picked up our old camper van and brought it back up to Scotland. Why do I say all this? Well, I then had to sell the camper van. And it's just, you know what? Even if I was only describing this at a purely business level, these things in our lives, wow, it was like a kind of mini version of buying and selling a house. You know, there was long journeys, there was whole weekends taken up. There's a lot of detail to sort out, like insurance details, adverts. And as always, when you know, just like when you buy a home, with our motorhome, there's been a few glitches to work through, and it's included none of the USB ports worked on. Well, yeah, none of the USB ports worked. And then we also had the misfortune or fortune, depending on how you look at it, of it later breaking down. And it turned out to be, I've done whole videos on this subject, so you don't need to know the detail, but it was actually to do with a fuel additive that's used to reduce carbon emissions in diesel engines here in Europe. So anyway, that was an easy fix, as it turned out, thankfully. We also moved our daughter back to university, so she would have been the other side of this room, and that's where her bedroom is. So now she's back at university for a second year, which is fantastic. So really, really proud of her, and she's continuing to really enjoy university. So we moved her back, thankfully, after getting the motorhome up and running. We also sold our camper van to a lovely family. So excited for them. So our old camper van sold, old caravan or trailer sold, and now our new RV motorhome is sat out there in the driveway, and just excited for continued adventures. We've already been camping a couple of times in it, and I've got an adventure down to England next weekend, which I'm excited about as well. What else has been going on in our lives? It kind of feels like a little bit like everything all at once, you know, building new garden furniture, helping declutter and tidy the house, going through finances and kind of decluttering and sorting things out, getting, you know, old insurance sorted out for the caravan and camper van, getting new insurance, lots of the kind of day-to-day human things that you just have to do. I also went through a big shift in my business side as well, with now having to pay value-added tax for my business. So this is 20%, typically is 20%. And typically what happens is that companies in the UK will add that to the total price of goods. However, that's not what I've decided to do. So I've decided, at least for now, for as long as I can sustain it, is to absorb. And for me personally, my business is not 20%, it's currently 16.5% that I have to give of all gross sales to the UK government, or HMRC. Okay, so we're segueing into business, John. So let's talk business. Let's see what happened. So most of my week now, the weekly pattern I have is Monday largely off, with the exception of an optional podcast and a 2-hour live stream with the wonderful Viviane Heller. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the days for my client sessions. And then I also have I've been running my Higher Self Intermediate training course that will finish next week. And then there'll be a little break, and then I'll go on and do the foundational training on the 22nd of October. Friday is largely off, and then Saturday, Sunday off. So you might think, wow, John, do you really have like 4 days off a week? Do you just work 3 days a week? Well, as I've learned, and this is the biggest lesson I have learned. This is a mix between my business and my life. Is that I absolutely love creating content just like this. It fuels me. I find it quite addictive, and I am, one of my character traits is that I can be quite obsessive about things, right? Like writing a song each day, or my "Hi, it's John" videos each day. Like I love the routine. I love structure in my life. And some of these I've been doing for many years, creating a song almost every day for since about 2019, over 2,700 songs. And just today finished my 176th album. These are, patterns that I just keep repeating. So now I have this thing called it's a weekly working pattern. And let me see if I can just flip the camera around. And I'm not going to show you in detail. It's just to give you kind of visual idea. So it's like Monday, mostly off. All the orange stuff is optional. And then, 2 client sessions Tuesday, 2 client sessions and training Wednesday, 2 client sessions Thursday, and a live stream. And then the other days. So that's just to give you some thoughts on it. Oh, pardon you, Patch. He's groaning away. Nice. And one thing I found, you guys love my predictions videos. They're often 1 hour or 1 hour plus. I've been creating at least a couple of those each week. I've also been doing nature walks, talking with trees. I love all of these, this content creation. There's a bit of a spell, right? There's a bit of an anti-pattern or an anti-behavior around content creation. And so some of the traps I find myself kind of being drawn towards are things like, oh, did my last video get as many views as the previous video? Are people enjoying, what I'm doing? If I'm not creating, then I'm not able to receive, including financially. And these are big emotions to overcome. And so it's taken me really August and September to get my head, that's a quite long time, right, John? 2 months to get my head around it. And now what I'm starting to shape up is something like Monday mornings for a predictions video for about an hour, whether it's outside or inside, a nature video on a Wednesday or Thursday, and then a predictions video on a Friday. On the weekends, like frankly speaking, if I'm not doing a song, especially on a Sunday, I don't write songs, then I'm quite happy to create a video. And I love it. It's addictive for me. So this is by no means me complaining that, oh, poor me, I have to create videos. I absolutely love it. So it's much more a case of like balancing it out. The other thing I've learned is that, and this was some great advice from my wife is that someone's singing outside, is this aspect of, it's okay, I can create content and then kind of sit on it, right? Not literally. But my camera, I'm using the Osmo Pocket 3. I find myself being able to like store huge amounts. It's got a 512 gigabyte card on it. So I can just create loads of content and keep it on the camera. And yes, there's a risk I could lose it. But I do feel that I can just work, create the content, and then later perhaps when I'm home. So if I'm away traveling, create the content, and when I get back, do some, and I, me, I don't really do editing, but I have to, it takes ages getting the, this content off the camera and onto my phone. So especially at 4K, which this is. So that's definitely a balance. I do, just like I teach in my Heart Aligned Business membership, I really love Heart Aligned Business Mentorship. I really love this ideal weekly pattern, this weekly working pattern, because it's constantly evolving, and it's a conscious decision to create a pattern. So that was the biggest thing. It was like, John, you've created a new thing that you're doing each week, and yet I'm not adjusting my schedule or even finding the right pattern to do it in. And frankly speaking, if I made money on YouTube, perhaps I'd be doing less client sessions. And I'm grateful for all your super thanks and all your memberships, and all these things definitely help. And there is some money coming in through YouTube. And I'd love to continue to, or I am continuing to grow that income. So thank you. The other really interesting aspect of the weekly pattern has been, there's one day in particular, Tuesdays, where I have quite a long gap. I have a 10 a.m. client session and then a 4 p.m. client session. And they're the fixed aspects of a day. And so it's like the day's kind of elongated out. And I, move the camera around like this. And as a result of that, it kind of feels like an extra long day when it maybe doesn't need to. That said, a big change with my daughter going back to university is that I can now use this room for client sessions. And my family are very supportive, and they don't listen in to any client sessions I do in here. But literally, if someone's walking around downstairs in the house, you can hear it in the background. So it's that versus my music studio, which is completely soundproofed. It's taken me 18 minutes into this video to remember, I owe you all an apology. Why do I owe you an apology? Well, I accidentally broke on my website the booking page, right? Now, from a business perspective, that is a disaster, right? Do not break your booking page. For me and my family, that booking page on my website is the main source of income for us to live off. So if it breaks, it stops people from being able to book. And it was kind of like one of the worst ways of breaking, in that what would happen is you'd go onto the booking page and it would load, but you could touch stuff on the page and nothing would happen. And so you're kind of left with like this kind of weird feeling of, oh, that's odd. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'll come back later. And almost none of you reported it. One of you did, thankfully, but it was almost 2.5 weeks. So over half of September has been dominated by a broken booking page. So if you were in those first couple of weeks of September and you did visit the page and you tried, my apologies. It's up and running now. I am receiving bookings again, so thank you so much for those. And I now I've had some more bookings in the last 24 hours, and my next booking availability is I'm just checking it real time. Because you just go into my homepage at jonbinnie.com, click on the booking I can just show you this. Let me just go back because you know what? It's just easy to do. So this is my website. And then if I click on this one here, it says book now, one click. And what it does is it takes you into it's like a deep link into the quantum psychic, it says here, the quantum psychic healing session. Don't worry if you can't read it on camera, I'm just talking to it. And then there's the slots here. So there's a 10 a.m. UK time, 10 a.m. UK time on the 6th of January is the next available slot. And it's similar for in person also. Let me just get the camera sorted. There we go. So yeah, it is, and it's absolutely wonderful. I feel such abundance to be fully booked through, what are we, going to October, so it's October, November, December, so 3 months fully booked, plus a little more, right? We still have a week or so left of overlapping September into October, and then January. I've also booked out, top tip, if you run your own business, I've also booked out all my holidays to the end of 2026. So this means that if somehow I get loads of bookings, which I've had in the past, for example, in November 2024, I had 5.5 months or so of bookings. And that was when I was doing even more sessions. I was doing somewhere around 3 to 4 sessions a day for 5 to 6 days a week. And that went on from November to March, and that was far too much work for me. Hence why I'm now working in a much more balanced way. So that's been a lot of fun, going through making sure I've been fixing that. Also, one of you reported just today that on mobile, the contact us and the donations link at the bottom of every page wasn't working, so I fixed that this morning. So thank you for that. If you ever spot any problems with my website, of my YouTube channel, I also have an app as well for Android, and the Wix Spaces app for iPhone, an iPad, please do just let me know. I am just one person doing all of this, so I'm always doing lots of different things. I'm very grateful to be blessed with pretty good technical skills after being in software and AI for 26 years. Okay, a quick recap of the month of September. So anything that stands out, I think the first week was pretty straightforward, and then into the second week. So the first and second week were very much working through our selling our camper van and caravan. I've been doing a couple of negative entity removals in September. I've more recently reduced those to once a month because they're a huge burden. In fact, as we're speaking, as we're speaking, I'm just going to go to my bookings page on my website, and I'll just show you as I'm talking through it. I'm going to the bookings page on my website here, so that's bookings up at the top here. And if you scroll right down, there's this negative entity removal soul retrieval. So if I go to book this, there we go, it says the 8th of January. So that's when the next available slot is for one of these for one of these sessions. In those sessions, I do exorcisms, preventions of psychic attacks, protection, cord cutting, soul fragment retrieval, negative entity clearing, home clearings. It's a higher price because it takes me a huge amount of work and a huge amount of energy and effort. And the biggest thing that I've found is that when I do this work, I often end up being attacked by the thing that's attacking my client. So I very much do battle with what's affecting my client, and they're pretty dark experiences, right, for everyone involved. And I've also moved them to a Thursday so that I have time. I have 3 days or so to then recover from those sessions. And if you ever book one with me, And I hope that you don't have to, but if you do book one with me, I'm here to serve and to support you. And I'll always, these are definitely sessions I take on a case by case basis. I'll look into it in more detail. I'll look at my schedule and try and work out, how to best balance. So there's a big, I once you book, I create like a prepare before, recovery after, and I really give some serious thought to the rest of the work that's going on. And I may get back in touch with you to help reschedule it to a time when you're going to get the very best of me for that service. And then also, I've had the 5D Ascension classes. So if you ever wondered, so these are free classes that I run every 2 weeks on live streams on YouTube. It's been so lovely to see you engaging more and more people coming along. I think we had 30 or 40 people thereabouts, and actually a lot of views. I think very similar to the live streams, about 300-400 views of the last class I did, and that's all in a playlist. If you keep an eye on the, reminds me I need to create the next one actually. If you keep an eye on the live page of my YouTube channel, or the live tab, you'll always see the next upcoming live streams and fifth dimension ascension classes. So this is all to help you, empower you, right? I'm just one guy, right? So but I can teach, right? So I can teach you how to do these things that you see, both Viviane and I, because I help teach her, that we do on our live stream. So these are clearings, readings, predictions, past life regressions, talk to spirit guides, clearing homes, mediumship. There's like a whole load of things, and I'm teaching a lot of the foundations of that in these 5D Ascension classes. And sometimes we're getting 100+ requests, and commonly now we're getting 100+ requests in our live streams, and we can only get through a fraction of that. So the idea is with the 5D Ascension classes, and it's often the day after, so it's on the day after, it's on a Tuesday, whether it's live or in the replay, you can engage with those and learn how to do this work yourself so that you're not reliant on me. So yeah, that's really exciting. So thank you for your engagement with those. And then I've also, I haven't really spoken about it much, just on and off. If you kind of troll around my website, you'll find it, the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy membership. So it's just a very small number. In fact, it's just 3 people. And it's not really a membership group in the way that you would often consider these things traditionally. It's nothing like the previous Divine Sparks membership I had. And instead, it's entirely really business focused. And the idea is that I'm helping mentor people. And I'm also just feeling into how much I enjoy this work. It's been really fun. I've been trialing doing what is effectively like a psychic business reading at the start of each week for each of those 3 members. That wouldn't really scale to many people, right? But at 3, it's really lovely to support people. And I really enjoy posting in the things I'm learning, the lessons I'm learning in my business each day, each week. And it's, you'd be amazed, like very, very little, because this isn't a traditional business mentoring, right? Very little is about money, or bookings. It's much more about the happy, healthy work-life balance, attracting in the work and the sustainability and the balance in your life, and often things like boundaries, strong ethics, clear, clean practices energetically. So these are all strong themes within that membership group. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm just continuing to trial it and feel into what will I do with it in the future. And I also have I shared a Leah Solmez. Thank you so much for your kind testimonial. I posted that on my website and my YouTube channel yesterday about some Heart Aligned business mentoring I've been giving her. So that was a real honor to share. And that reminds me, I must talk to one of my Heart Aligned business mentorship clients and chat through when we could do a testimonial for their work. that we've been doing it together. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting like evolutions and changes. I've also been on some podcasts. I was on Linda G's show yesterday. It was just phenomenal to catch up with her. It's been 3 months since I last saw her. And I've also been making an effort to not just virtually connect with people, but also in person. So I saw a friend Monday. We were doing reflexology sessions for each other, and I did some energy healing too. I also met up yesterday with my mindfulness meditation teacher from 2 years ago, who helped teach me how to teach mindfulness meditation in companies, for example. And I also have some plans next week for meeting people in person, as I'm likely to head, I will head down south. Not as far as Cornwall this time, but I will be heading south. So that'll be a lot of fun to connect with people on that journey with Patch and go on an adventure for a few days in our motorhome. And so what's happening? Well, there's also next week I'll be doing. There's a lot next week as we traverse into October. I'm doing a presentation, and you can come along to this if you're in the area. This is a presentation with regarding AI and spirituality, and it's called something like "Can you teach AI spirituality?" Or to be spiritually awakened. That's happening on Thursday, the 2nd of October in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle Centre. Very prestigious, so excited for that. Then I'm going on my crazy adventure down south. And then October, yeah, definitely has some more exciting adventures planned. So we also have some holidays coming up as a family, so looking forward to that. And keep an eye out for, that's through like the mid and then towards the end. And I'll also be doing some adventures towards the end of the month. I'm going up to Aberdeen to have something called air suspension. These big kind of airbags, rubber airbags that go under the suspension at the back of our motorhome. So looking forward to that and a nice smooth ride. Maybe it'll help with vlogging as well. And I'll also be excited to go on channels, including live streams with Sarah UFO Girly. That'll be a lot of fun at the end of October. So I'm sure October will continue to be a lovely adventure. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's just such an honor to share this. And, quite a few people have reflected back to me that I'm living my dream life, that their perception is I'm living my dream life. And it's funny, they'll give examples of like, you're often on adventures in your motorhome, you articulate that you're this feeling of abundance, and yes, yes, I am living my dream life. I know maybe that sounded like there was a but coming. There is no buts. I'm truly grateful, and I'm very humbled by this journey, this dancing through your dream life with you. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. If you've watched all this video, well, you must be interested in my life and what's going on. And of course, a huge thank you to my family and friends who just continue to be incredible support. And, it's not always easy being in a relationship, or if your father or your friend is running their own business. And, I started mine on May 31st, 2024, and it's a roller coaster, right? It's not just about hard work, and it's not just about those times where you're wondering about money and your money kind of comes in and it's like up and down a bit. It's more like a roller coaster. And, many people have come to me and said, "Oh, John, your business is just booming, and it's so lovely to see how, how much you just they perceive it as success." It doesn't mean that it's easy for friends and family and loved ones. And I'd say, yes, there's great flexibility. It's so lovely, but I feel one area I continue to work on is that when I am with, because clearly I get a lot of time with my family and friends, it's that I want them to really have me present, right? You know, life is a meditation, John. Life is about slowing down and receiving. And it's not about being busy all the time. You can tell September's been a busy month, and October feels more balanced. No buying and selling caravans, camper vans, motorhomes. Even the number of adventures will be, you know, shorter, and just, you know, achieving a good balance. So that's my feeling. That's my theme, and it's perfect, right? As we're entering into winter, you know, really getting into that looking within and the introspection, and what do I really want out of this, you know. What I'm living right now absolutely is a dream life that I could only have dreamed of 2 years ago, and even a year ago, in, you know, September 25th 2024, my business was nothing like this, right? It was one or two bookings a week at best. In fact, I had a really quiet October, you know, one of my quietest months so far in 2024. So there are ups and downs. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. You can hype as well, hype videos. And if you're thinking about making this leap, about changing your whole life, you know, I left May 30th a very high-paying senior software manager position in software and AI at Amazon, and that career, like, no regrets. I don't miss it. I miss the people. I have met up with some of them recently, and in fact, I bumped into one of them yesterday, and I just feel that the more each day, if you can't tell from the themes in this video, the more I follow my joy each day, and this is the same for you, I feel, as well. If you follow your joy and, you know, do it sustainably and look after your body, fill your cup first, your happiness and health, declutter all the things in your life that don't serve you anymore, it really helps you expand and receive this dream life. Receive your dream life. Receive. And it's important, right? When our society is still very male dominated and push and be a busy bee, buzz. Really, that's not what life is. You know, when we dance, for example, we receive the music, we receive the energy, and we receive the flow that we love to dance into and move around. This is what I'm learning, and my goal, if you like, if I don't really set goals, but if I was to choose one, it would be in October to really focus on balance, sustainability, and receiving. Receive, John. Wonderful. Okay, 38 minutes. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you later today. I have a live stream at 4:30 UK time. 4:30 UK time is 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Please come along, because we have special guest Nancy Lopez. We'll be doing readings, clearings, healings with the wonderful co-host Viviane Heller. All right, take care, everyone. Sending love. Bye.